It's good to have you join me in my study today. Last time I suggested that the demands of justice are satisfied when one's liability to punishment is removed. And punishment serves to satisfy the demands of justice by removing the liability to punishment. So the question then arises, why can't a substitute remove one's further liability to punishment? Why can't a substitute satisfy the demands of justice? The late David Lewis, a very prominent American philosopher who was by no means a theist, much less a Christian, says that our justice system remains deeply conflicted on this question. He points out that although in criminal law the punishment by a substitute is not allowed, nevertheless in civil law substitutionary punishment is allowed. Someone else can pay the fines which are levied upon you for some wrong done against a plaintiff. So a friend can pay a person's fine if both parties agree to this arrangement. And Lewis says that this is just as much a case of penal substitution as other cases. He disagrees with the view expressed by so-called expressivist views of punishment that such penalties are not really punishments. Lewis points out that these fines can be very burdensome, and as I argued earlier, they can also be very censorious as well, expressing society's condemnation of what the person did. So that these acts are in fact satisfied by penal substitution. Lewis writes, if the rest of us were to make so bold as to rebuke the Christians for their two-mindedness, they would have a good tu quoque against it, that is to say, the same to you. A tu quoque is not a rejoinder on behalf of penal substitution, yet neither is it intellectually weightless. It indicates that both sides agree that penal substitution sometimes makes sense after all, even if none can say how it makes sense. And if both sides agree to that, that is some evidence that somehow they might both be right. That is to say, they might be right that penal substitution can indeed sometimes satisfy the demands of justice, exactly as the Protestant reformers maintained.